Friday, February 11th, and he plays FBI Director Gabriel Robinson, Liam Neeson, Taylor John Smith, and on and on and on and on. Great people are in it. And, of course, Aidan is one of our most incredible actors. Where are you, Aidan?
Hey, I see you.
Now I see you. People get confused out in the world. No, you don't get to see Aidan. Only I get to see Aidan, because this is not a visual show. This is an audio show. Tell me about everything. Tell me what's going on, what you've been up to. Because when we saw each other at that James Bond event, it seemed like everybody was going to be able to go out again and start to hang out. And then everything just crashed and burned. And then we all went back in our little cubby holes.
I know we had like 3 days where we thought everything is going back to normal, and then I am so like you, tired of it, and I also completely relate to not being able to stay up late anymore. Listen, I'm in bed at 10 o'clock, 9 o'clock half the time. If I stay up till 1 because I have to, because I'm watching something or a movie or something, and I have to get up early, I am wrecked the next day. I totally agree with you.
And I don't know if it's just the whole experience of having been inside for 2 years, and this sort of, life has gotten much smaller in so many ways, and I don't know if that affects what that affects in your psychology, but it sure has done a number. And I mean, for you, as an actor, as somebody who's out in the world, who's on stage and, in every different aspect of being an actor, what has this time been like for you? I mean, were you able to shoot Blacklight during COVID?
Well, that was the one thing I did get to shoot during COVID, thankfully. We went to Melbourne, which is a great city, and we did our 2 weeks of quarantine, but it was at a time in Melbourne where there was zero COVID, zero. So we took off our mask, got out of quarantine, and we had a normal life for the 5-6 weeks I was there, which was absolutely magical. And it was a great experience working with Liam Neeson, who I've done a few films with before, and it's a fun action movie. So it was just a great respite. But during the COVID, I mean, literally, I did that and the 500th episode of SVU, and that is it. The Theodore Roosevelt thing I did was actually before COVID. That's out now on HBO.
Tell
Max.
people. I was going to say, tell people where to see that, because it's a fabulous piece and it's an important piece. So talk about your Teddy Roosevelt experience.
Yeah, well, that was incredible. That was an honor of my life to play that character. I mean, he was the most remarkable political figure in American history, without a doubt. We did it in the Amazon for 3 months, right before the pandemic, and it was incredible. It was incredible. Great part by written by Matthew Chapman. Wonderful actors. Dana Delaney plays my wife, and
love
Chris
her.
Mason. Chris Mason, wonderful actor, plays my son, and we had. It was an intense time. There were times where you would get out of your shower and almost step on a coral snake, which is one that they have a slang term called a two-step. It bites you, you take 2 steps, and you die.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
There were things like that all the time. I had 165-pound rodents ripping apart the shrubs right outside my bedroom. And you're sleeping in the screened-in thing. It's just a screen. And I thought it was a jaguar trying to get in. And I'd open the door and took out my iPhone flashlight and looking at a capybara, a 165-pound rodent, just chomping away. Yeah.
I mean, in theory, I like them. I mean, I like them in a video or behind like a zoo fence, but they get to be 165 pounds?
Yes, they do. They do. But this was a remarkable story about his exploration of the Amazon with the great Brazilian explorer, and how the two cultures of the Brazilian team and the American team, their conflicts, where they come together. There was death and murder and mayhem and people dying of sickness. Theodore Roosevelt almost died, of course, and in the end, it may be what killed him. So it's just a remarkable story, and it flashes back to all his times as president. We have all the flashbacks to his times as president and even vice president. So it was a fascinating project. Yeah.
How old
HBO
was...
Max. It's on HBO Max.
Great. How old was Teddy Roosevelt when he had this adventure?
He was, I think, 50, 57, 58 years old. Yeah.
And in
Yeah.
those days, that was already like you might want
Yeah.
to have thought about slowing down at that point.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Yes. Yes.
I mean, isn't it
Yeah.
amazing? I mean, what were the years that Teddy Roosevelt was president? Forgive my ignorance.
Well, I think the president, he was vice president, and the president that was it's just escaping his name, but he was shot and killed, and he became
Was it
president for,
McKinley?
yes, yes. He was shot and
I pulled
killed,
that
and
out of my
then,
hat. Yeah.
yes, very good. And so he became president for the last year and a half, 2 years of his term, and then he went on to become president. He ran again and became president. But he ran again in the 1912 election after President Taft had a term, and people thought he messed up things quite a bit. And, it was kind of like what happened with Trump in the sense that he would win the amount of votes by a large margin, Roosevelt, but the electoral people that didn't like Roosevelt because he busted up J.P. Morgan and the trusts and the Standard Oils, gave the nomination in some of the states to Taft, even though he lost the popular vote. So it actually changed a lot of the rules around the vote counting and everything, because Teddy Roosevelt trounced Taft in the popular vote, but a lot of the states were fighting in the convention to give the nomination to Taft. But anyway, it ended up splitting the party because Teddy Roosevelt had to start his own party, because he started the Progressive Party, and he still got way more votes than Taft, but it split the vote. And then Wilson got it.
Oh, okay. Fascinating. I mean,
Yeah.
it's amazing how history just completely repeats itself. There's we modernize, we electrify our voting, and yet it's still the same. There's still the same dissension and combativeness that it just was there from the beginning of this country, and it's amazing, and it's so great to have been in a project where you get to be so close to history. That to me is always so fascinating, because and you're also in a place we have no control over. I mean, we do, because we destroy it, but the Amazon still left to its own devices is wild, and there's nothing we can do to really tame it, left to our own devices.
Yeah, it's an incredible place. It's a very, very difficult place to work, to shoot a movie, but I did a play in the Fields of the Lord there 30-something years ago, with Hector Babenco and Tom Waits and
oh my God,
John Lithgow, and Kathy Bates played my wife. And that was an incredible experience as well. But I swore after the 6 months in the jungle that I would never do another movie in the jungle again. But
I can't believe you've done it twice.
Yeah, well, neither could my wife. But but
where was Lizzie while you were back here in New York? She didn't go down there with you, did she?
Oh, good Lord, no. She was safely ensconced at home. No, no way.
That's
Nor
not
my
the location.
Yeah, my darling Mia, who I was thinking about getting her to come down too. My daughter, yeah.
Yeah, that's not the location everybody's pining to. It's not like Italy or France or some glamorous destination that we all like to end up with. Oh yeah, I'll come and stay at a hotel for free and hang out with you. There was no hotel, so I mean, how incredible! But talk about your new film, Blacklight, which begins playing in theaters tomorrow. And I also love Liam Neeson. He's such a kind person and so sweet.
Yes, he's gotten top marks from my daughter of my many male friends, of the one that listens to her and gives her complete, like really focuses in when she talks and listens to her and values what she says. So I really give him top marks for that too. I mean, this is him at the top of his game in the action genre. There's a lot of fun. This is a popcorn movie. I get to play the J. Edgar Hooverish head of the FBI who believed the world has gone to a hell in a handbasket and needs some straightening out. A real old Law and Order FBI director. And we are old friends that I have. He's been under my wing. He works for me, and he starts to find out some of the things that I've been up to, and we go to battle. So it was a fun project to work on.
That sounds incredible. Those kind of films are needed. They're a palate cleanser. People just like sometimes just like to veg out, but that doesn't take anything away from the quality of the acting or the, or just.
Yes. Oh no, Liam is a master at this. Yeah. Because he has.
I know. All of a sudden, he became like the go-to person for action adventure, but the kind of soft macho. I don't even know how to describe it, but it's sort of.
Well, he does it with such charm and relaxation, and yet he has such power. So it's a pleasure to work with him. This is our third or fourth film together. So every 10 years we seem to get to do a film together. Yeah. Absolutely.
I mean, you've really. Go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
Well, I was going to say you've really transcended, the decades, and starting as a young actor, gorgeous, everybody like, oh my God, Aidan Quinn, he's like the cutest person in the world, and you still are, of course, very handsome, incredible. But like all of us, we have to find different ways into our art when the youthfulness of it wears off. And how have you adjusted over the years from being like this incredible powerhouse, sexy, leading young man to being, just a man who's also still very sexy and handsome, but just different times? So how do you keep it fresh, and how do you stay, feeling secure in your work?
Well, I don't.
That's the secret.
I don't, and I have to.
Oh, that's hysterical.
As the COVID-19 that's around my belly will attest to, I mean, I've struggled during this couple of years, as most people have. This is the least I've worked in my entire career since I was 19, and I started acting. So it's been tough. As far as my career, I've been really lucky. I get to I'm going to go back and do another episode with a great crew over at SVU and Mariska Haggerty, who I loved working with. I got to do their 500th episode, and they've asked me back, so that's great. But wow. I'm continually looking for work, and that this has been an unusually fallow period. This has been a crazy time. I feel for people like my daughter's age and your daughter's age, particularly, in that this is meant to be the prime of their lives and what they have had to sacrifice and go through. I mean, we're on the downside of, we're past our peak, unless we're going to live till 130. So it's particularly hard, it's been a crazy time. Just crazy time. I just spent.
It's been
my daughter.
And yet I think the kids are have more stamina and a clearer vision of it in a certain way than we do. I think that they're used to a certain sort of disappointment in our society, and they kind of just adjust to it and ride through it. And at least my daughter has been, thank God. Tell me about your experience.
That's great. My daughter unfortunately had a thing recently where she had 10 days in the hospital because she had an emergency appendectomy where she had a gangrenous, perforated, septic appendicitis.
Oh my God! Yeah. How terrible!
And at the height of Omicron, where you had 30% less staff in the place, and although the doctor and his surgical team, I'm going to call out his name because I want to thank him. He probably.
That's okay, honey. What a terrifying thing to go through. I had no idea. Jesus Christ.
Anyway, he probably saved my daughter's life. I mean, that's how serious it was. He said it was the worst, one of the worst. He'd been doing the operation since he was in his 80s, and he said it was one of the worst, top 10 worst he'd ever seen. Jesus. So, the things that people survive, and my daughter, like, she had to be she had COVID the month before. So even though she'd gotten over the COVID, the PCR test, you can test positive for months. So then she got put in isolation. And, so you could only be seen fully gowned up and nobody, no guests, nobody could see. I had to fight my way in, pulling every string I could. For days and days, I couldn't even go in. And, you think, but, my daughter, she's a champion, she's amazing. The medical, and the nursing staff, they were amazing. They were really amazing.
What hospital was she in?
Shout out to them. I'm not going to say, because I do have one complaint. I'm not going to say the name of the hospital, because the nursing staff were great. The surgical team and the Dr. Dronsky, were incredible. Saved my daughter's life, and the nurses staff were great. I will say that the day she went in, the emergency room was a nightmare, and I give them a complete pass, because it was the height of Omicron. There are 30% less staff, and that's just the way it was,
Yeah.
So
all right. Well, we'll leave it at that, and we'll say praise the universe for bringing her through, and her stamina and the love of you and Lizzie, because I mean, shit, these are some rough fucking times.
Yeah.
Let's just put it out there and get real.
Yeah. So, we survived this. I think we're all gonna go as a family to London together. I think my birthday's coming up. We're having a big birthday party with a lot of friends there in London. And I think I'm done. I figured my birthday party is March 8th. It's 2 years of this. And I think after that, I'm not that I'm not going to wear a mask or, get a shot that is needed if they tell us it's needed, whatever. I think everybody should be vaccinated without a doubt. Don't get me wrong.
Absolutely.
But
absolutely.
I think I've had it with the isolation, the social isolation, and being away from my friends and our community.
I know.
I've had it.
I'm right there with you. I'm venturing out next week. I'm going to the gym. I'm going to see my trainer. I will wear my mask.
Right.
I've got to get back. I can't get through the day. I'm exhausted. I'm working. I'm writing.
Right.
But it's like a weight on your shoulders. You can't survive like this. It's just not. It's not what being a person is about. So I'm so glad you're gonna go to London. You're gonna fucking see people, and I think that's amazing. I just want to say I'm talking with Aidan Quinn. We're wrapping up in a few minutes. Getting to meet you and your wife at that party was such a pleasure. It's just, we all kind of circle each other in this business, and then you have those moments where you connect and you go, wow, everything you thought about that person was even more and more beautiful than you imagined. So to meet you and to know to have enjoyed your work all these years, and the humanity and the love is just, it's just really so important.
This family, we're all big fans of yours, and we right back at you. We love watching you. We love your honesty. I love the way you don't care what you say. I wish I could be as free as you. I think of Billy Connolly.
Don't try this at home. I think the difference is, I think as an actor and somebody who inhabits characters, which I do too, but that's what you do. You can only put yourself out there so much, and you say so much through your work and through your characters, and people know where you stand. They just do.
No, thank you. Well, good. It's hard not to speak up. We have to speak up in this time. We have to. Things are, democracy's in shreds. We have to all speak up and take the consequences. It's just time. You can't hide in the sand anymore.
No, we can't. That's just it's plain and simple. But it's so great. It's so great that we have a film like Blacklight, which opens tomorrow in theaters, where we can have a couple hours to escape and really just let go, because that's sometimes that's the only balm that soothes the psyche. Yes, it's a very fun piece, and please check it out, as well as The American Guest on HBO Max. Theater all of it, and just the years and years of fabulous film and television and theater. Let's not forget, and as soon as we can, let's get together and celebrate what's worth.
I would love that. Absolutely. Sounds good, Sandy.
Well, we're going to be in touch. Aidan Quinn, thank you so much for coming into Sandyland.
Thank you.
As I knew it
Thank
would
you.
be, a delight. Much love. Stay
Thank you.
strong. And we'll see you soon. Thank you, baby.
so much. My
Bye,
pleasure.
love.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye, love.
Take care. Thanks.
We're going to take a quick break.